Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Shadow Hippowdon with the new fast move of Sand Attack in the Open Auto League. We're going to have some battles sent to me here, which is of course a very kind. We're going to have a team, which I think is also kind of what I suggested. I think I just did it in a different kind of order. We're going to have a team here with the Pidgeot, the Poliwrath, as well as our good friend the Hippowdon. I would imagine that Poliwrath is the safe swap of this team, but again, I haven't taken a look at those battles yet in general, so we're going to see what we're going to see here. And yeah, definitely here already great for Hippowdon to catch the Ampharos. And I have to say, I actually did do around like one set of battles with Hippowdon as well, used it in the lead because I thought maybe I can catch off guard maybe some flying types with my Weather Ball or whatever. Was horrific, didn't work out at all for me, like literally was not working out at all, so I kind of decided to drop it. So I'm very thankful for actually getting to showcase some gameplay here with maybe a team that works a little bit better than what I experienced myself. So otherwise, we're going to see here already that you're going to be in a great spot, as you're going to still have your purified variant of the Poliwrath. Very interesting, not running return. How could you? That would be kind of funny to if I like return Poliwrath, nobody would know, but of course it's not really ideal. Great play by the opponent by letting this move go through, but you can still reach that Brave Bird in time in order to knock them out, and in comes again the Poliwrath. With 2 shields left, you're easily going to be able to win this game, and the opponent decides to forfeit. Moving on to the next one, let's find out what they're going to run here. We're going to have a Dragonite in the lead, which is a winning matchup for you in the 0 shield scenario. In the 1 shield scenario, it can be a little bit tricky, but let's see. They're going to go straight for the Brave Bird, which I feel like is a great play because a lot of times they're going to no shield, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. Again, I didn't watch the gameplay prior. Staying in here is, I guess, kind of okay. You're still going to have an answer in the back, and you're going to get out the Poliwrath of the opponent with their own Poliwrath, which is totally okay for you. So maybe endgame could look like something like Feather Dancing the Alone Sand Slash, and then maybe trying to knock them down with the Sand Attack plus like Weather Ball would maybe make some sense. But here we're going to see the Scald connecting against the opponent. They're actually going to use a shield here, never mind. So you might actually going to lose this matchup as the opponent goes for their own Icy Wind. You might actually be able to reach another move then as well. Another Scald is finding its way to the opponent. Very likely not gonna get shielded because not gonna get the knockout either. Very unlikely to not get the debuff twice, but it doesn't matter as the opponent decides to forfeit here. Moving on to the next one, let's find out what they're going to have. They're going to have another Shadow variant of the Dragonite, which is going to be again a fairly neutral matchup for you. You win the 0 shield, but before they use the shield here as well, exactly that's what you're going to do. Now you're going to go again for a Brave Bird. Now the opponent swaps out. What a mistake, as Sand Slash is going to face up a Poliwrath now. They're forced to go for the Drill Run, but he swapped out a little bit late, so maybe they can even reach another Drill Run. No, they will not be able to, and so you can go for the full farm down, and in comes a Feraligatr. And this is going to be an interesting matchup for you because Feraligatr is... Oh, nice, you're gonna get the debuff here, which is great. Feraligatr only has resisted damage from the charge moves against you, so you should be able to survive this Hydro Cannon fairly easily. And with this, you're going to be able to align, I guess, your Pidgeot again and try to use the Weather Ball later on in order to knock them out. But let's see what you're going to do. You can actually, exactly, you can go to the Pidgeot, go for the Feather Dance. Now, what I would suggest you is to swap out here. Let's see if you're going to do it. You're going to do it, and this is going to be amazing because now you can kind of outspeed the opponent. Of course, not for the first one as they had some previous energy, but you can go for the Weather Ball, and this is going to take the knockout for sure, I would imagine. Let's find out. Okay, we're going to find out afterwards, I guess. You can go for another one. You can still survive this. Like, there's no reason to shield this. Exactly, well played here. In comes another Dragonclaw. They might be able to swap out, but they cannot in time, and so the Weather Ball Rock is going to be enough to knock them out. And in comes now the Feraligatr, and you can even reach another move, Hippowdon, taking down the opponent, and we can move on into the next battle. Actually starting kind of straight away, we're going to face up Giratina here in the lead, which is going to be, of course, a very decent lead for you. But they can swap out now, and they're going to go into the Cobalion. Staying in here is a little bit risky, but you kind of wanted to catch, I guess, a Stone Edge onto your Poliwrath, which is a move that you can go for. But now they can just spam you with a Sacred Swords, which can be a little bit tricky. You might have to use one shield. But it's not too bad either, as you're gonna see here. You can actually still swipe another one if you wanted to, and you're gonna do that, so great play there. the Sacred Sword is going to still do a ton of damage, and you have to go for a Skull in order to knock them out. Let's see if they want to use a shield. They might go and do this, but they do not, and so you can realign, which is kinda decent for you. You know that your opponent is going to be kinda neutral against the Giratina, and of course you can go back into your Pidgeot, which can go for a debuff and move immediately again, as now the Giratina basically is not going to do any damage. We can find out now as well if they're going to have the Dragon Claw, or if they're going to have the Ancient Power for you. They're going to have the Dragon Claw, which is going to be way better for you, and they swap out into a Poliwrath. This is going to be a little bit of a trickier matchup. I would imagine that's best for you to stay in this one. We're gonna see the shield coming in, and yeah, I guess you're gonna stay in this. This is definitely the way to go. But with the damage of counter coming in here, you might be forced to swap out eventually, but you're gonna go for another Feather Dance. This might drop counter low enough again that you're going to be able to survive that before you... Yeah, I think you should be able to still get to another charge move here. Let's find out. Do you use a shield? You might want to use a shield. You're gonna use a shield. Can you get to the Brave Bird in time? You can. And this is going to be important. You're forced to swap out now immediately, but maybe Scorching Sands plus the fast move and also the previous damage onto the opponent is going to be enough for the Hippowdon to clean up this game. Let's find out. We're gonna see that they can go for another Dragon Claw. Honestly, I always enjoy like when I don't know the gameplay before. Like for me, I always remember basically every game that I play when I commentate my own battles, but with like those viewer submissions here is always kind of funny to see on how they play it out and how I would play it out. And I think you're going to win this game here, right? You still should be able to survive it. You can do still a ton of damage. Hopefully Wing Attack is enough. Let's find out. It is, and you can win this game. Let's move on to the next one. Talonflame in the lead. Not ideal, but also not too shabby here, as you can go for the Feather Dance before the opponent can go for anything. You could argue of going for... Okay, that was actually fine for you. You could have argued for going for the Brave Bird first as well and then swap out. Your Backner is kind of okay against Talonflame as well, so Fly is coming through. They might outspeed you to the next one, so you're forced to use a shield now, which is definitely worth it, as you can go for 2 more fast moves, go for a Brave Bird, and that's exactly what you're going to do as well. So far, I would play everything exactly the same, which is kind of funny. The knockout is coming through, and they're going to swap out into the Giratina. Awkward. Like, I do understand the play that you're going to go here into the Poliwrath. I might have went instead into the Hippowdon. Like, Poliwrath has double resisted counter, which is really annoying, but of course you have the super effective Icy Wind, which can add up after a while. And I guess both plays could work out. For this one, I kind of like that they might be forced to swap out eventually though, because of the lower damage output here. But it really depends on what they're going to have in the back if you're going to be able to win this battle with your Hippowdon in the back. So you're going to let this move go through. It's all down if Hippowdon can win this game, or we will find out shortly. Just forced to swap out, and it's going to be a Guzzlord. I have no idea who wins this, but with a Scorching Sand debuff, this would definitely be way easier for you. Let's see if you're going to get it. You don't get it, it's a 30% chance, so it is kind of unlikely. And so I think the opponent is going to be in a better spot here. Dragon Claw, great call of not going for the shield first, because basically if you use a shield there, the opponent is free to go for a crunch, which just does a little bit more damage. And now you're forced to use a shield here again. Is it enough for you though that you can just go for the Weather Ball and it's going to be enough to knock them out? I think they still survive, but you might be able to swap out now. Let's see. You can swap out, and the opponent swaps out as well, but you cannot reach the move in time, and so you're barely going to lose this one. Well played though. Moving on, we're going to have the Mandibus in the lead here. A matchup that is kind of better for your backline, I would imagine, because you have super effective coverage on both of your Pokemon, but of course you're going to also have the weakness of flying against like basically your Poliwrath, and also you're going to have a little bit of a tough time getting some Sand Attack damage onto this Pokemon as it's flying. Here, actually I would have played it differently towards what you played it. I would have went straight for a Brave Bird and then swap out into my Poliwrath. I think that would have been a decent play as well, because it would put them definitely into range for either a counter down or for the Hippowdon to work. Here the opponent is going to swap out into the Annihilate, going for the Icy Wind, no reason for them to shield, but I guess because you're the non-Shadow variant of the Poliwrath, you're going to have the huge advantage of surviving a Shadow Ball, I wanted to say, but the opponent would need to go for a Shadow Ball first anyway. And I think you still survive it. I think you still survive a Shadow Ball. I believe in you, and yes, you do. And so it is kind of unfortunate that you went for the Icy Wind here, as Scald would have been better no matter what. But at least you gave the opponent more farm, I guess. But you can just go ahead and go for the full farm. I guess you can let this move go through. This is going to be resisted, not resisted, like double debuffed, I mean. And so you can go for the full farm down, which is a little bit scary as the opponent has a lantern in the back. This might be good for you. Let's find out here. You could argue of going for even the bait of Weather Ball all the time, but we have to see what the opponent tries to do. They're gonna swap out into the Mana Bus and you are up at 100 energy. Let's see on how this is going to function for you. You're gonna get the shield. They can go for their own charge move, but you can overfarm again afterwards. It's going to be the Aerial Ace, not doing too much damage, and he can reach up to 100 energy again. And if the opponent wants to use a shield here again, so be it. That's going to be fine for you. But no, they're going to decide to let this move go through, and now it is the right call to just go for the double Scorching Sands, and the opponent is not calling this, and so we're gonna be able to win this game. Next opponent, something spicier here. We're going to have the lead of Chestnut, very cool Pokemon as well. In comes here the Shadow variant of the Skuntank, of course having Trail Base, which is a little bit annoying, but they would get one shot by just one Scorching Sands, and we're gonna see it here, so that is going to be a good game for you. Also, it's going to be a little bit annoying for this matchup because the opponent could most likely just farm you down as all your moves are going to be resisted. But still, you actually do quite a lot of damage, so they're forced to go for a charge move here. Frenzy Plant is coming through very likely. But the cool thing for you is now you can align your Pidgeot, and this will allow you to... you could use a shield here, but you don't really have to. I guess it's fine, especially if you're already one shield down. You're going to be able to just go for the Feather Dance now, and this is like the amazing thing about this. Also, for you now as well, you gave the opponent a lot of energy. The energy is wasted on the Poliwrath. Like all moves that you can run on the Feraligatr are going to be resisted, and as you can see here, it is not doing any damage at all. And so you're gonna be basically in a perfect spot as you stun lock the opponent there. Like the opponent cannot really do anything. You're gonna go for the Ender Charge. Honestly, a little bit unnecessary, but I guess like you could have just farmed them down from the beginning, I would say. But you can just also go for an Ice Beam, but I think the opponent knows it already, and yes, they decide to forfeit, so let's move on to the next one. Second to last game, another Talonflame again. Like, I would go for this matchup here. I would just go straight for the Brave Bird and then swap out, but there is no right, there's no wrong for this matchup. You can go for exactly here, for example, Brave Bird, it would have been better, while for the other example, it would have been worse. So, like, it really depends on what the opponent does. They're swapping out here into the Cobalion. Interesting to see this team twice, but this is going to be great for you as well, as you can now align your Poliwrath a little bit earlier than last time, so they don't have as much energy already, and you can just go for a Scald, get a ton of damage onto them. No debuff again, which is kind of unfortunate, so you definitely are not very lucky with those. But in comes Sacred Sword, you can still survive, you can go for the full farm down. And if they want to go back into their Talonflame, they would face a Scald, but they're actually running here in the back the Machamp, a very cool Pokemon. I don't think it's great in the current meta, I have to say, for the Ultra League at least. For the Great League, I think it's like one of my favorite Pokemon, as I said as well in a video before. But if you saw my showcase for Machamp, it still worked out okay, but I just felt it was like such a liability. Like the rest of the team was like so much better than Machamp itself. Machamp kinda dragged it down a little bit. But here we're gonna see the Weather Ball connecting, doing a ton of damage. You have some, is it some lag, or is it just like, it looks just a little bit weird, I guess, because like you barely see the Sand Attack animation there because of the shadow auras. But it's going to be okay. You're gonna go for the bait. I guess it's going to be the right call, as the opponent is going to, yeah, take still a ton of damage here. And I guess you have lag. I guess I was not wrong with that. You should still be able to farm down, hopefully. Let's see, you can, and this is going to be a very good game. Final one for today. Let's find out what they're going to face here. We're going to see Deoxys in the lead. A matchup that I don't really like, but it's great that you're gonna just stay in here because, of course, your Poliwrath does not like this one either. We will see most likely a Thunderbolt connect. I think that's what, yeah, exactly. Thunderbolt is a little bit more common nowadays. Let's find out what they're gonna try to do next. Most likely gonna go for Psycho Boost, or is it a Thunderbolt? Yeah, exactly, it's just a Psycho Boost. And so you can just overfarm by quite a bit. That was a little bit risky, but we're gonna find out here if this is going to be worth it. Brave Bird coming through, getting shielded, and you are keeping the energy. Issue for you though is, if you want to get to a Brave Bird, you need 2 more fast moves. If you want to go for one Feather Dance, you need 1 more fast move. And with the health that you have, against Greedent this would be possible to still get this extra fast move off, but against not a lot of other Pokemon will be really possible. But of course Greedent is not going to survive this matchup here. Greedent does not like punchy boys, my girlfriend would say. But yeah, we're gonna see here, of course, that the opponent is gonna still try to go for the Body Slam spam, but it's not doing any damage. There's still still gonna get to another one, but it's not going to really matter too much as he can let this move go through. It is going to be a body slam that is going to connect, and we see the Jonkus coming back in. I would actually use a shield, and you use a shield as well. I do agree with this play. Interestingly enough, by the way, Hippowdon gonna be great against the opponent's, what's called the Deoxys, because you're going to do a little bit more damage with that. Here you're actually gonna do just a sacrificial swap, which I do agree with as well. Great play there. And you can actually go back into your Poliwrath, I would say. Exactly, because now you can try to get to an Icy Wind, and you can get to an Icy Wind, and this is ginormous, because this will force a shield from the opponent, and also, this is gonna get the attack drop, which is going to be great for you, and also, you can go for a Scorching Stance now without having to worry about a shield coming up, and so, you are gonna be in a great spot now to sweep endgame with her Hippowdon. So actually, I guess, for me, it was just unlucky. Maybe you just don't want to run this Pokemon in the lead, which I guess is the case, because here, this showcase kind of showed how strong Hippowdon actually can be, and so hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.